Crickets, and welcome back to I Have a Story. In my last video, I talked about college parties and finding out that you can just show up and party. Most of them didn't even know that's part of college parties, that people just show up and they don't even know each other. And I'm appropriately smoking one of these for this story. So I'm at a college party, and part of where I got along with older people was I knew cars. And not just cars, I knew work. I knew, and that's what gave me an in with a lot of adults, was I knew how things operated. I could, even back then, fix darn near anything. And I don't even know how I do it. I just naturally have a God-gifted ability to fix and design and build things. Trying not to run off track here. Talking about my childhood and toys, and I never knew how to play with toys. And my parents would get upset and I'd get in trouble because I'm breaking my toys by taking them apart, trying to figure out how they work, because vroom, vroom, vroom with the car, I'm bored. That doesn't entertain me. But that's what I was supposed to do. So I'm at a college party, and this was one that was previous high school auto mechanic students. And we're all partying, and joint comes me. I take a puff and pass it to the next hand. Only when I looked up where that hand was connected to, I said, "Mr. Rankin," my teacher. And he gave me the deer in the headlights. And then I'm like, gave him the deer in the headlights because we're both busted. You gotta remember, this was back in 1993. In the 90s, marijuana was still looked at like some sort of psychedelic drug that was going to make you go home and kill your family. And it was treated back then and viewed as, in a lot of society, it was viewed like meth. It's pretty funny. I remember there used to be a commercial on TV. If you smoke marijuana, you're going to see this little purple people eater running around. And I don't know, was it a purple people eater? It was a little purple dinosaur. There used to be a commercial back in the 90s, and they'd have all these crazy commercials that weed was wacky. I don't know, where are they getting theirs from? I've never smoked anything like that, unless it had something laced in it. Stories for another time. So, not only did I catch my teacher smoking, and again, I'm trying to think of how to even present all this. That shop class was the last year that shop class was in business. My teacher had found out he was losing his job and they were shutting it down. He was also going through a lot of personal crap in his own life, speaking of father's rights. And I remember that was the first time I found out that if kids keep going to college, you get to keep paying child support, because my teacher found out while he was in the office of shop class, and we found out the windows were unbreakable when he tried putting his chair through it. And the thing is, it was kind of weird because everybody said I looked like his son, and I heard this from a lot of people, that I looked like his son and reminded him of his son, and it's part of why he treated me the way he did. The night that we sat down and smoked a joint together, we had a talk, and I told him, by this time in shop class, there was only 3 juniors left and 1 senior, Brian, Bill, me, and then our senior Dallas. I told him everybody in shop's cool. We all smoke. We're all partiers. He said, "Really?" Well, the next day we found out, well, one, what legs and eggs was. It was the first time any of us had ever heard of legs and eggs. And this was weird how he did it. I never understood this. We show up for class. I already had my morning out with Jessica. I talked about her. And I guess I messed up when I talked about that, because I had a first and second periods that were standard school classes, and then I went to shop for third period up until lunch, and then after lunch I had English and then back to shop. So I did actually have 3 academic classes and then my shop, but my English class wasn't until afternoon, so that's why I went to English. And English was a lot of fun. But next morning at school, He told Bill, there's a paper bag sitting out next to the dumpster. Go grab it. And right outside our shop, there were I believe there were two dumpsters, if I remember correctly. And Bill went out, brought in a paper bag, and had a 12-pack in it. And we all sat down, drank a couple beers, and he looked at us and said, "You guys know what legs and eggs is?" And we were like, "No, what's that?" He goes, "I'm going to show you. Pile in." And we all went out, jumped in his truck, and he took us to Legs and Eggs. I'm sure most of you watching this by now know what Legs and Eggs is. Back then it was City Diner was the name of the place, and it was nothing but women wearing short shorts and skimpy tops. Legs and Eggs. Yeah, shop class was a lot of fun. I will also talk about how I passed about I had talked about it how I passed my first two periods by not showing up. Well, I hate to throw people under the bus, but again, this was 30 years ago, and this is what really happened. Our final shop class, where we took our paper tests, he seriously just took and put the book on his desk, opened it up, said, "Guys, I'm going to get coffee. Be back in 20." And left his book wide open on the desk for us. I don't remember exactly how things were worded, but we got the wink wink. That's how we passed our shop class test. For me, I came in and already had knowledge and already showed that I had knowledge and was already, I'm a very assertive person. I don't keep my mouth shut. I like to be involved. I like to be interactive. I like communication and talking. I like to make people laugh and smile. He learned real quick. I already knew a lot of auto mechanics, and right off the bat, right off the bat, he put me in front of every physical test we had to take. And that's what I spent the first couple days of the first week of shop class. We did our introduction, got to kind of know each other, and then it might even been the second week where we got into actually learning the equipment and doing the physical side of things. And he asked me, he goes, "You know how to use a tire changing machine?" "Yeah." "You know how to use a balancer?" "No, I've never used one of those, but I've used a tire changing machine, and balancer's electronic, and you got to learn." He said, "Tell you what, I'm going to take you, and you're going to pass everything, and we're going to do this as your introduction, the introduction to all the shop equipment to the students before they get started, and then I'm going to pass you on all of it." And that's what he did. I did the tire changing machine, showed the shop how to do it. I got my A. Jump over to the tire balancer. I didn't know what I was doing. He showed me the button, showed me how to do it. I did it. I got another A. Jump over to the welder. This is how you do it. I already knew how to weld. Got another A. And went through all the equipment as the introductory to the shop class. I was the example and passed everything right off the bat. And then over in the corner of the shop, me and the senior got to tear apart. It was, I don't know what year it was. It was one of the old cars that had the flip up hoods, or the sides flipped up. And we got to disassemble the entire car. And then send it over to auto body and even play with auto body a little bit and spend some time over there. Both of us learned a little bit about auto body. And, again, didn't have to follow the normal curriculum. I've really had like a lot of different things happen to me in life that just wasn't a normal walk for most people. There's just another one. All the way through, and then, God, there were some goofy kids in that shop class. Stories I could tell you. But there's another story for the books, and yeah, that was my shop class. And then after that, they actually closed auto mechanics and tried sending Bill Bryan and I. They graduated Dallas, tried sending Bill Bryan and I to another school that was outside of our school district. That's actually where I met Nicole. She lived across the street from that school, but we were only there for a couple days. And they said they had something worked out where we could finish up our auto mechanics program with that high school. And then they said that, "Oh wait, something fell through and you guys don't pay our taxes and it didn't work out, so go back to your school." And then they didn't know what to do with us, so they put us in study hall all day long. We had no class. study hall all day long with nothing to study. I read Carcraft magazines front to back and back to front again, and I'm just bored out of my mind. And then we got dismissed. I'll save that story for another day, because that story echoed the hallways, I guess, for that school for a while to come yet.